Hare Krishna, welcome everybody. We will be seeing chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, text number 3 to 6 today. If you're following along on a hardbound Bhagavad Gita, then this will be page number 63 to 69. We'll do a little recap of what we did last time. We covered chapter 2, text number 1 and text number 2. Text number 1, Arjuna keeps his bow aside and says, Krishna, I'm not going to fight. Text number 2 is Krishna starts to speak, and while Krishna is starting to speak for the very first time in Bhagavad Gita, in the purport, Prabhupada explains three different realizations of Krishna: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. We saw the sun rays, the sun disk, and the sun planet example, describing that Krishna can be realized in three different stages. We saw who is Bhagavan. Bhagavan is a person who has all the six opulences in full at all time, and we saw the different opulences as wealth, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation. References of who is Bhagavan. In the whole Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan, and why? There are several references, and in this text too, purport Prabhupada's quoting two references. We saw those two. One is Brahma is saying that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Brahma Samhita prayers, and the other was Srimad Bhagavatam, the very famous verse where it's declaring that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse number 1.3.28. So we'll move on. What we will see today is chapter 2, text number 3. We will see a little bit of what's Krishna trying to say to Arjuna in text number 3. We will cover up to text number 6, and we will touch upon the last reason that Arjuna gives for not fighting, which is his indecision. We will start with prayers. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who, with the torchlight of knowledge, has opened my eyes which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My dear Lord, and the spiritual energy of the Lord, kindly engage me in your service. I am now embarrassed with this material service. Please engage me in your service. Chapter 2, text number 3 reads, O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of enemy. Krishna starts to speak to Arjuna after Arjuna has spoken to him at length in chapter 1. Now, chapter 2, Krishna starts to speak, and he is saying that Arjuna, this is your petty weakness of heart. Krishna calls Arjuna unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Krishna says, a Kshatriya who declines to fight is a Kshatriya in name only. A Brahmana who acts impiously is a Brahmana in name only. And Krishna is telling Arjuna, I do not want you to be the son of an unworthy unworthy son of a Kshatriya. And then Krishna says that Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is standing right by the side of Arjuna, and Arjuna is declining to fight, which is a very infamous act on part of Arjuna, because when the creator of the whole universe is standing right in front of you, he is supporting you, he is your intimate friend, and he is asking you to fight. He's giving you all the support, all the encouragement, everything that's needed, and Arjuna says, I don't want to fight. Krishna is saying, this is a very infamous act. You are not valuing my friendship. I'm giving you everything that's needed and you don't want to fight, kind of, or conversation. When we saw chapter 1, we kept saying that Arjuna is being compassionate. He doesn't want to kill people, he wants to forgive. And that looks like magnanimity, meaning he's so magnanimous that for the sake of people and bloodshed and so many other reasons that he gave, that the traditions and the dynasties will be destroyed, the women will not be protected, there will be unwanted progeny. And if you look from Arjuna's point of view, feels like magnanimous, and Krishna is saying this is weakness of heart. Why? Because the function of a Kshatriya is to fight, and Arjuna is declining to fight. It is like a policeman saying, seeing a murder happening, a policeman is saying, I don't want to fight because there will be bloodshed. The job or the function of a policeman is to protect, and in order to protect, he has to take his weapons and fight. And if the policeman says, I don't want to fight because the murderer is my cousin or whatever, then Krishna is calling it weakness of heart. So, in our own life, how do we find out when we are having a conflict in our own heart about to do something or not to do something? How do we find out, are we on the side of weakness of heart, or are we on the side of being magnanimous? It is by approval from authority. Only when Arjuna spoke to Krishna and Krishna told that, hey, this is not magnanimity, this is weakness of heart, then Arjuna finds out that it is weakness of heart. Until then, Arjuna does not know. So, until we go speak to an spiritual personality and seek their opinion, we don't know whether it's magnanimity or weakness of heart. So, approval from authority is the basis on which we can determine. Chapter 2, text number 4 says, Arjuna said, so after Krishna spoke like that to Arjuna, Arjuna starts to speak. Arjuna is saying, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? So, respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Drona, the teacher, they are worshipable. For somebody like Arjuna, who is coming from a respectable lineage, for him, teacher and grandfather are worshipable. And even if they attack, they should not be counteracted. They should not be even given a verbal fight from the etiquette point of view. And even if they sometimes are harsh in their behavior, they should not be treated harshly. That is the place from where Arjuna is coming, and Arjuna is asking Krishna, Krishna, how can I kill? How can I fight with my grandfather and my teacher? Will you fight with your grandfather Ugrasena, and will you fight with your teacher Sandipani Muni? If no, then why are you asking me to fight? That is Arjuna's situation. Text number 5 reads, it would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. So Arjuna is saying that how can I kill my grandfather and teacher or fight with my grandfather and teacher, because he's looking at them as worshipable. In Krishna's terms, a teacher who has done an abominable act or who engages in an abominable act and has lost his discrimination is fit to be abandoned. So Krishna is no longer looking at those personalities as worshipable because they are on the side of Duryodhana. They took the side of adharma, and so they are to be fought. And Arjuna is still considering them to be worshipable because they are his teachers. And he's saying, if I kill them, and if after I kill them, even if I get the kingdom, that kingdom will be tainted with blood, so I will not be able to enjoy it, Krishna. Text number 6 says, nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Arjuna is expressing his indecision in this verse. He is saying, how do we know which is better? He is saying, we don't know if we should care to live or we should care to die after we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra. He's saying, we don't know which is better. Should we conquer them or should we be conquered by them? If any one of us has been in this spot of indecision, we will know what Arjuna is facing. Arjuna is facing a big time indecision, but all of us in our own lives would have at some point in time been in this spot of indecision, and it doesn't feel very comfortable to be in that spot because one is not able to decide what to do. So Arjuna is standing in this spot of indecision. What is his indecision? One side he's thinking fighting creates unnecessary violence, so I should not fight. On the other end, Fighting is his duty because he's a Kshatriya, so he must fight. But he's thinking fighting will create violence, so I should not fight. He's standing in front of his teacher and grandfather who are respectable, who are worshipable, who should not be given even a verbal fight, who should not be treated harshly. So, how can you fight with them? So, he's thinking not to fight. On the other end, engaged in teachers and grandfathers, they are engaged in abominable action, need to be killed, so they should be fought. When Draupadi was disrobed by Duryodhana or Dushasana, Bhishma and Dronacharya did not tell anything, which is abominable. Somebody doing abominable act and you not saying anything is participating in the act. So such people must be killed. And so Arjuna is standing on this crossroad thinking what to do. And we will see next week that Krishna answers to Arjuna and to all of us what one should do when one is standing on a crossroad and not able to decide if to go left or right in one's own journey of life. Then what should we do? That will be coming up next week. We'll do a quick summary of we did chapter 2 text 3 where Krishna is telling Arjuna, how is this weakness of heart come upon you when I, Krishna, am standing right in front of you? You're a son of a Kshatriya, and the duty of a Kshatriya is to fight. How can you decline to fight? We saw from text number 4 to 6, Arjuna speaks. Arjuna is saying, Krishna, you're asking me to kill my grandfather and my teacher who are worshipable, who must not even be given a verbal fight, and you're asking me to kill them. Would you kill your own grandfather and your teacher? Then why are you asking me to kill them? And then we saw the indecision verse where Arjuna is not able to decide if he should kill them or whether he should fight or he should not fight. If he fights, he has to kill his grandfather and teacher, but then grandfather and teacher should not be given even a verbal fight, so how is he killing them? So he is in a dilemma what to do, a indecision. That's our session for today. Please feel free to send in any text, any questions via text if you like. Nice to be with all of you again. We will read again together next week. Till then, take care. Hare Krishna.